So, my high achieving self loved to collect achievements. I collected degrees, I collected certificates, I collected job titles, I collected promotions, whatever. I collected all kinds of things. But like most collections, a lot of those things just sat on a shelf because once I got that goal, I moved the goal line. Like that wasn't going to make me worthy anymore. I had to achieve this other thing in order to be worthy now. So I was always moving the goal on myself. And so I was always doing it from that place of lack. And then when I changed, so I want to go back to my journaling example. Like I said, I wanted to do a journaling practice for years because I thought that in order to be a writer, I needed to be a journaler. Every writer I admired also was a journaler. So obviously, to be a writer, I needed to journal. But what happened is I kind of shifted my approach. Instead of wanting to be a journaler because it would make me something, I decided I wanted to journal because I wanted to learn about myself, trust myself, and grow. So after 3 years of journaling practice, I can trust myself to return to the page even if I take a week off, a day off, whatever. And mistakes are good. Mistakes are okay. They are going to happen. So when we did this journal prompt about what your motivation for creating your goals, and if you found that you were creating goals from a place of lack, I don't want that to be a judgment. It's not a judgment. It's just an opportunity to observe where you're coming from. Your observing brain is observing what your thinking brain is up to. So I switched, like my journaling practice switched from something that was burdensome, something I had to do in order to be this something else, to something that I wanted to do in order to grow and expand. And so that kind of change in mindset helped me in that way. But I do want to note that just changing your mindset isn't always enough. I mean, there's lots of circumstances that can interfere in working towards a goal. So that recognizing where you are right now, what kind of limitations you have in the way, both internally and externally, and what you can focus on and where you are is all a part of accepting what is happening right now. And that can help you with the whole self-compassion piece and knowing where you are and what you can do and how you can get there. So just knowing all of that is one piece of approaching your goals with self-compassion. So when we create a goal, one thing I noticed that I did all the time was I would say, for example, something like, I'm going to write 1,000 words every day. And let's assume that when I create this goal, I'm not writing at all. I'm just going from 0 to 1,000 words every single day. And I'm sure you've all heard of SMART goals. So that goal that I created, 1,000 words every day, has everything a SMART goal needs. It's specific, it's measurable, in theory, it's attainable. It's relevant because I want to be a writer. It's time bound because it's going to be every day. So it's something that every um, goals guru says it's a SMART goal. But for example, when I'm a runner, as Anya said, and when I began running, I I trained for a half marathon, which is 13.1 miles, and I had 5 months in order to train for this. And of course, I didn't think on day one I was going to run 13.1 miles. I wasn't that naive, but I was thinking I could do a mile a day. That seemed doable. But what I found out was that was a little bit too ambitious for my body that had only been walking up into the point that my friend decided, hey, let's do a half marathon in 5 months. And I'm like, cool. So um, it was probably unrealistic for myself to think that I was going to write 1,000 words a day if I've not been writing before that. So it wasn't very compassionate to myself. It may have been smart, but it wasn't maybe all that compassionate. So instead of saying, I'm going to write 1,000 words every day, Maybe I begin with, I'm going to, for the next 7 days, write 50 words, or even take it back even more and say, for the next 5 days, I'm just going to sit down at my computer, open it up, and start a Word document. I'm not even going to write a word, just something that gets me into the practice, something that allows me to start trusting that I can do this. And so my bigger goal, my 1,000 words every day, instead of saying from right now, I'm going to start writing 1,000 words every day, maybe I say sometime in the future, like 3 months from now, I'm going to be writing 1,000 words every single day. So I can start with these smaller. For the next 5 days, I'm just going to sit in front of the computer. And then the next 7 days, I'm just going to write 50 words. And then whatever little goals that I create to get to that 1,000 words a day is what will get me to the big goal of finally saying, yes, I can write 1,000 words every day easily, no problem. So this is how we're building self-trust, which is, I feel like, an important part of also self-compassion, because if you can't trust yourself, like Anya was saying, she can't trust her observing brain telling her all these great things about herself and being compassionate towards herself. So she can't trust it. So when I talked about establishing my journaling practice, I talked about it as part of building self-trust. And I cannot tell you how many times I have set a goal and then not done anything to achieve it. um, and my reasoning was because I was just letting myself down. I wasn't letting anybody else down, so it didn't matter. Nobody else would be hurt by this. So, wow, I truly jumped ahead really far, I think.
Jerri, this is
Nope, I
exactly
didn't.
right. This is exactly right. You just keep going, babe. You go back. Go back.
Nope, I'm good. I'm good. I got it. So, so this kind of thinking, this kind of like thinking that nobody else was going to get hurt if I didn't follow through on this goal led to two consequences for me. It told myself that I was not worthy. I wasn't worthy of pursuing it if I was the only one that was going to benefit from this action. And two, it taught me that I couldn't trust myself. I wouldn't follow through on the promises that I made for myself. And so would I really want to be a friend with someone like that? Like if they told me they were going to do something and then they never followed through. So I was eroding my own relationship with myself by not following through on my promises, AKA my goals. So being compassionate to myself and objectively looking at what I can do to help me create the process that allows me to restore trust is when I miss a day, I'm okay. But before, in the past, when I missed a day, I would just throw up my hands and be like, clearly I am too dumb or too slow or whatever to do this. So obviously I don't need to do this goal. But now my observing brain steps in and says, wait, wait, wait. You had many things happen today, things you didn't plan for. You didn't have time to do this. You didn't have the energy for it. You did the best that you could. And you can continue the practice tomorrow or even now if you have the energy and time. And notice that I said continue the practice, because I think that sometimes when we say I can start over tomorrow or I can begin again tomorrow, that kind of indicates that all the progress that we have done up until this point doesn't count. And I feel like that is sometimes detrimental to the process of working towards a goal. So all of the experiences and all the lessons that I've learned up until the point that I missed the day and that I can continue later gets negated if I say, oh, I have to start over tomorrow. So even if I have just started my goal and I'm at just the opening my computer stage and looking at the Word document, even those few days of doing that, that has allowed me to work towards something. I have already started building trust. And now that I am compassionate to myself, saying, because I missed a day, I said, oh, well, look at all these things that happened. You did the best that you could in the time frame and the energy that you had. We'll just continue again tomorrow. No big deal.